my friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Wendy from Bake with Bakabee. For today's video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 essential tools to kick off your home baking. I have been baking for several years, and I remembered when I started it, I was a bit overwhelmed by the varieties of the baking tools, and some of them I even didn't know how to use them. So for all these years, I have accumulated some experience and of course learned from the mistakes. So that's why today I'm excited to share with you my top 10 essential tools to help you start your home baking. And of course, I will share some of my ideas with you, how to choose them and how to use them. So let's have a look what those 10 tools are.
Mixer, kitchen scale, measuring spoons and cups, silicone spatulas, mixing bowls, flour sieve, baking pans, rolling pins, silicone baking mats and parchment paper, and wire racks.
Are you ready for it? Let's dive into it.
Tool number 1. Mixer. This is my KitchenAid 100-year limited edition hand mixer. It is so pretty, isn't it? Apart from the nice looking, it has 7 speeds that allow me to mix the batter from low to high speed. The switch is on top, so it is very easy to use, and the grip is very comfortable to hold on. It comes with 2 stainless steel beaters and a pro whisk. The beaters are for beating the butter or mixing the batter. Basically, it does most of the jobs. Here is the video clip that I used my hand mixer to beat the butter in my easy coffee almond cookie recipe 2 ways. If you haven't watched this melt in your mouth and irresistible cookie recipe video yet, there is the link in the description box below. But if you are very serious about baking, you may consider to get this, a stand mixer. I can say that I can't run my home baking business without this buddy. It is a 4.8 liter tilt head stand mixer. It comes with a stainless steel bowl with a pouring shield and 3 accessories, which I will show you later. If you bake a lot, you may consider to buy one more mixing bowl. This is a glass mixing bowl with a lid, which is very handy. I use it for proofing the dough or covering the raw rising, avoid it getting dry. Now I'm going to show you the accessories and their functions. This is the flat beater that I use now, which is made of stainless steel. The original one is this one, which is made of aluminum with non-stick nylon coating. Their performance are both very good, but I just like the material, stainless steel, which is more long-lasting. I use this beater most of the time, beating the butter, making the cookie dough, or mixing the cake batter as well. The next accessory is the dough hole. This is the aluminum one which comes with the mixer, and this is the stainless steel one which I bought recently. I use it to knead the bread dough. It does all the hard work for me. Want to have freshly baked bread? No problem at all. The last accessory that I want to show you is the wire wrist. This whole one is made of stainless steel, while the original one is made of aluminum for the head and stainless steel for the wire. I really like this stainless steel one. It is much heavier and very sturdy. I use it for whipping the cream or meringue. Yum! Tool number 2. Kitchen scale. A digital kitchen scale is an essential tool for baking. It helps us weigh ingredients precisely that we need for the recipes. This is my digital kitchen scale. It is slim and lightweight. I can just hang it on the pegboard on the wall and grab it easily when I need it. Here is the tips for choosing your scale. The units needs to be easy to swap from one another to another, although we mostly use kilograms and grams nowadays. Just like mine, by pressing the button on the left, it switches from pounds, ounces to grams easily. Now let me show you how to use the scale to weigh the ingredient. Let's say I need 110 grams of caster sugar. Place the bowl on the scale before you turn it on. Then you just need to scoop the sugar into the bowl until the scale shows 110 grams. That's it. But how about if you need another 20 grams of caster sugar more? Do you need to use another bowl to start to weigh again? No, you don't. Actually, there are 2 ways to do it. The simplest way is to press the on button once. The scale will go back to 0 grams. Then you just need to weigh 20 grams sugar. That's it. Or if you are very good at calculation, but definitely that's not me, you can just simply by adding two numbers, 110 and 20 together. Then you'll figure it out you actually need 130 grams of custard sugar. So you just need to scoop the sugar to the bowl until the scale reaches 130 grams. Tool number 3, measuring spoons and cups. There are my two sets of measuring spoons, and above them, there are my measuring cups. I organize them by sizes, and I hang them on the pegboard, which is very handy. I just pick whatever size I need. The difference between these two sets is only the smallest spoon. The smallest one for the yellow set is a quarter of teaspoon, while the red set is 1/8 teaspoon, which I think is very handy because some recipes, for example, will need 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Although in my opinion, you can use a quarter of teaspoon to measure half of it. I like measuring things precisely, so if you need to choose yours, I highly recommend you to choose a set which has a 1/8 teaspoon one. There are two sets of measuring cups hanging on my pegboard, but honestly I don't use them very often because I like using them. They have different sizes: 1000 milliliters, 500 milliliters, 250 milliliters, and the smallest one, 60 milliliters. They are very handy to use because the scales are displayed in an angle inside the cups, so you don't need to lift up the cups to see the scale because it might affect the accuracy. Now I'm going to show you how to measure the exact amount of ingredients using measuring spoon, because this is very important to exactly follow the recipe. Let's say I will need half a teaspoon of baking powder. First, get the right spoon. Now you see it is obviously not enough, but here is more than half a teaspoon. So what do we need to do? Use an offset spatula just like this one or a knife. Glide it across the top of the spoon, level it up. Now you see it is completely level the spoon. This is how I measure the exact amount of ingredients. Tool number 4, silicone spatulas. I put all my silicone spatulas in this vase next to my stand mixer because I use them all the time when I bake. Spatulas comes from different sizes. In my collection, I mainly have two sizes, the normal one and a small one. The normal size is 27 centimeters long, while the short ones is 21 centimeters. When you need to choose yours, you may need to consider if the silicone head flexible enough, because it does help to scrape down the size of the bowl. And also, is the handle steady enough to use it to mix the batter? Because for example, sometimes the cookie dough can be quite thick, so we need a spatula which has a sturdy handle to help us mix the dough well. Tool number 5, mixing bowls. Mixing bowls are one of the essential tools not only for baking, but also in your kitchen. Whether you use them for mixing ingredients, storing food, or marinating meats. Here I have two sets with different materials. This set is stainless steel with a silicone base, while the other set is made of glass. This stainless steel set is very lightweight, long-lasting, easy to clean, and also each bowl has a silicone base. It does help a lot to stabilize the bowl while I am mixing the ingredients. Also, each of them has a measuring markings inside the bowls, which is very handy. These are my second set of mixing bowls. They are made of tempered glass. I like using them because they won't affect the taste, texture, or the color of the food. But no matter what kinds or materials of mixing bowls you choose, I highly recommend you stick to the same style because it will save you a lot of space to store them. If you have watched my baking room tour plus organizing tips video to tell you how I stay organized, using the same style of dishware is one of the big tips. If you want to know other organizing tips, you can check out my baking room tour video. Tool number 6, flour sifter. There are lots of different types of flour sifter on the market. How to choose? Which one I like the most? I'm going to share some of my personal reviews on them. I have been baking for several years and I've tried 4 different types of sifters so far. My main consideration of choosing a sifter that I like to use is needs to be fast, simple, and budget friendly. So I think this basic one can definitely tick all the boxes. The other flour siever I use the most is this one from Wilton. I use this one particularly to sieve the icing sugar because it has a lid to stop it from flying up to my face while I am sifting it. Also, it is fast and it won't mess up my surface that much. Definitely, it is one of my favorite sievers. This one looks nice, but unfortunately, I personally do not quite keen on this one. Why? First, it is quite slow compared to the basic sieve. Also, my fingers are quite tired due to pressing the handle to trigger the sieve at the bottom. Another downside of it is quite pricey. So for me, I would say no to this one. So how about this one? This one is quite fast, quite budget friendly. However, it doesn't have a lid. So when I'm sifting the flour or icing sugar, it would fly up during the sifting process and it can be quite messy. So I would also say no to this one. These are all my own review based on my personal experience. I hope you can make your right choice to get yourself a perfect siever for baking. Tool number 7. Baking pans. If you are a baking newbie, I'm sure you will be overwhelmed by the varieties of baking pans, right? Round, square, shallow, deep baking pans. What are they for? What pan should you invest? Before you make any decision, here I'm going to share with you some of my tips. I hope I can give you some insight to help you make the right choice. Cupcake pans, or also called muffin pans, is probably the first pan that you may consider to get one. It is so versatile. You can use it to bake cupcakes or muffin, then decorate them in the way you like. Or if you do not have sweet tooth, you can try some savory baking, like egg cups or savory muffins. I even use it to bake bread. The next one you may consider is this round cake pan with a removable bottom. It has different sizes. I personally recommend you to get a 8 inches one or 9 inches one because this is not too big or not too small. You can use it to bake cakes, obviously, or change the bottom to this tube pan. Then you can use it to bake chiffon cake as well. The other baking pans you can consider is this one, a non-stick shallow baking pan. It's a square or rectangle. You can choose whatever suits you. I have both actually. Why is it so worth to have one? Because it can be so versatile. You can use it to bake a lot of different goodies. I use it to bake brownies, Swiss rolls, cookies, or any freeform bread. If you don't have one, this one probably can be a good start. The last baking pan that I would like to recommend you to get is this one, 1 pound loaf tin. This tin is so versatile and all the loaf cake recipes are extremely easy to make. Basically, you just need to mix all the ingredients together and then let the oven do the rest. Then you will have a delicious loaf cake for breakfast, afternoon tea, or anytime you want to treat yourself. If you are a beginner baker, you can try my coffee walnut loaf cake, banana walnut cake. I use it to bake breads as well. This is my lemon loaf cake with lemon icing. Yum! Tool number 8. Rolling pins. There are a lot of different types or sizes rolling pins. Here I'm going to share with you some tips how to choose it. This one is a very basic rolling pin. It is very simple and as you can see, it is just a wooden stick. I like using it to roll out the bread dough. Because its design is so simple and no handles on both ends, I can really feel the thickness of the dough. This rolling pin is probably one of my favorite tools. It is slightly fancier than the wooden one. First, it has handles so that I can hold it very comfortably when I'm rolling out the dough. Also, the body has a non-stick coating. More than that, it has measurement scales on both ends. It helps me easily roll out the dough in a thickness of exactly 2 mm, 4 mm, 6 mm, or 8 mm. How it works? Let's say if I want to roll out the dough in a thickness of 4 mm. So I place a 4 mm size on the surface. The gap between the surface and the dough is 4 mm now, so if I just need to roll out the dough until it is completely flat, then the dough will be exactly 4 mm thick. Now if I turn it to 8 mm, you can see the gap become wider. So if I roll out the dough, then the dough will be 8 mm thick. That's why I like this rolling pin very much, because it helps me roll out the dough to my desired thickness without any hassle. But if you are a newbie, you don't need to be that precise. You just place 2 chopsticks beside the dough, then you can also easily roll out the dough evenly. Tool number 9. Silicone baking mats or parchment paper. Silicone baking mats and parchment paper are both for your base from sticking onto the baking pans after they are baked. But when do I use the mat or the parchment paper, or use them together? Let me show you. Silicone baking mats can only use on a flat baking pan for baking like cookies or macaroons. Also, you need to measure your baking pan before you decide to get one, because if your baking mat is too big, it won't work. Or if you want to line a cake pan with the baking mat, it won't work either. You have to use parchment paper. I have a video to show you how to line your cake pans using parchment paper, but without any hassle. You can check it out now. The link is in the description box below. Tool number 10. Wire racks. Wire rack is one of the essential tools for baking. After all the hardware mixing and baking, cooling down the bakes are the final step before we either eat our bakes or decorate them. Most of the recipes says allow your base to cool completely on a wire rack. So wire rack is definitely an essential tool. Mine is a set of 3 with foldable legs. Normally, I keep them flat when I cool down my base, but if I have a lot of cakes or cookies need to be cooled down, I will open the legs and stack them together in order to save some space. If you have been watching my videos, they always appear somewhere in there.
So that's it. I hope these ideas are useful to you and will encourage you to start your home baking. I highly recommend it. It is such a lot of fun. Please let me know if these ideas are helpful and what you would like me to share with you in my future videos. I would love to hear that. Please don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. And before you leave, my friends, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. So happy baking! See you next time. Bye bye!